So it's Saturday. We don't normally do CBs on a Saturday, but I was going to go and do something and it's got cancelled, so we'll do a CB or part of a CB before continuing with the organ. What I have done with this one, because I've got more time, I've printed off the instruction book. This is a scan of a photocopy. We photocopied all the instruction books at the time. Wasn't that sent? Oh yes, the printer needed reloading. It does that. So we have the instruction book and how to mount it on your typical 70s American car. I didn't look at the spec. Oh, there's the specification. Good. You might not have seen that, so that's why I did that. It's got a piece of white tack there. These have 8 screws. I'll tell you what, we'll take 4 of them out and then we'll do a test. The test set has been on for half an hour, so he's warmed up. Good. Just come with a standard replacement mic. I like the wear, and it has had some wear when you look around the bezel there. So I haven't looked at the customer's notes, so I'll go through it. So we'll be testing PA because that's now company policy, and I might have a power lead for one of these on here. I might not as well. Can we see a power lead? No, we can't see a power lead. So in view of not finding a power lead, we'll have to open it up. Oh, hang on. There's one. Right, we'll power it up. It's an unknown set. We'll start off at 9 volts, limited to 350 milliamps. It has come on, and it says channel 19 on it. That altered itself. So, extension speaker, PA speaker in line with new policy. Testing PAs. So we'll start just like that. He's got an LED in there for the receive light, and they've got to be changed back to bulbs because it does upset the radio. So let's see how this works. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. So is it the mic gain does it? It is. The mic gain alters it, and let's just turn the volume at the same time. So on these radios, it is the mic gain that affects the PA, which is a good way to do it, as long as you remember to put it back to full when you use it on a CB. We know we've got to do so we'll unplug the PA speaker. That is done with. So with that at full, that at full, that at minimum, that in high, that in high, and back to CB. So that's never going to go out. So when we're going to transmit, it's not going to go out. So, you know, this is one of the things if you start changing stuff around. Why is my other camera not on? Oh, it is on. Oh, something must be... and yeah, I'm going to have to deal with the other camera, aren't I? We get a lot of power outages here, even if it's for half a second, and it crashes things. Just centralise that, and then we'll put it on the main There we go. Right. So let's see how many watts it's doing. I could do with a piece of paper, as usual. Let's see what we've got. We've got RS's bill of August from a gentleman at Ely. So, Harrier CBX. So we're going to transmit and short out the thingy like we usually do. I'll just go to 13.8 volts now. That LED is probably going to light up like a headlight even more. So on the 3 watt scale, it's just gone over the 3 watts, and in fact it will give it 3.1. Deviation. Now we did CPT yesterday, so we just need to alter this back. Wallow. Oh well, that was straightforward enough. Wallow. I'm going to have to go up a scale. It's more than 5 kilohertz. Wallow. 6.3 kilohertz. What has happened there? You know what they do? They fiddle about with it. Do I sound better? Do I sound... Oh, you sound great. I'm listening on to something dreadful. The mate is. So this is the trouble. You get a set with good filtering, and this is going to sound absolute garbage. To a Fidelity 1000, it'll sound great. But something with filtering, you know, and this is the problem with the illegal radios that are off frequency as well. Sounds like Donald Duck. Norman Collar is showing me age there. Right, let's switch the SINAD meter on. And we'll look at its receive. Okay, 2779125. I'll just see how on frequency this radio is first. And the answer is 79090. It should be 125. It's in spec, it doesn't matter, but we will alter it. So I'm going to just alter the receive frequency of the signal generator so we get a fair reading of frequency. There we go, that's fair then. Let's test the receive. So at 1 microvolt, which is where we will go with the SINAD meter. Just can't get the Night Star to straighten that up. There's 12 dB, and the radio is doing 0.67 microvolts for 12 dB SINAD. I'll just see what it does if it does 20. Tell you why, because the instruction says 1 microvolt or better for 20 dB, which would, I'd be surprised if it does that. So we've got 3.2 microvolts for 20 dB SINAD. You see, a lot of that's down to noise, and the other thing is you don't know how they've read it, because I'm reading this in EMF mode. If I switch the signal generator to PD mode and then give that reading again, we've now got 1.75 for 20 dB. You know, so there you go. But we always read everything in the most difficult to achieve range. Whereas people selling things It's like the old amplifier thing, you know. Something, an amplifier that's 2 watts suddenly becomes 64 watts at Dixon's. And if you look at some of the Chinese advertisements for Baofeng handhelds with 12,000 kilometre range and million-hour batteries and things, just ridiculous. They're 4 watts, they're not 5 watts, they're 4 watts. And the 10 watt one's also 4 watts. So, you know, don't be conned. Right, we'll take the case off. Bit of noise on the volume control. We may be able to deal with it, we may not. Well, I can't see anything scary at this stage. We've got a 76900, Midland 76900 flagship base station. They were £369 at the time, which is coming in. The guy's bought it off eBay, and he's paid, you know, really good money for it. Like, more than half what it originally cost. And when he opens it up, he's discovered it's been 80 channeled with an illegal modification board, and it goes without saying the radio doesn't transmit. So that's going to have a phase lock loop chip, and that's not going to be cheap. So it's sad when you've got to pay out to buy the damn thing and then pay to have it repaired. Unfortunately, that's how this is, and people don't realise that legality aside, that you can't add extra channels to a 2781 set. The performance is dire when you've done it. The only ones we've ever seen working, and you know, 19 out of 20 they don't work and the modifications kill the set, but the ones we have seen that work, they're very rare that both sets of channels on frequency. I have seen it where they've got different trimmers for the different sets of channels. But the other side of that is that the sets are never, the receive's always miles out, and I don't think I've seen 4 watts on any of them either. So, you know, just go and buy an 80 channel set. But I think all this happened in the 80s. Right, we'll start with the VCO. As ever, I'll have to get the instructions out because it must be a whole week since I last saw one. So we'll use Mike M1EMF's better printed instructions than what's in the manual. He's retyped it better. As ever, we don't have a crocodile clip lead. It may be possible to put the negative there. It may not. I may end up having to hold it on. I may have to go looking on Mr. Chippy's bench. But the chassis is not negative on these sets. It's floating, so it can be put in either a positive or a negative earth car. And I'm just looking at capacitors here, and I can't see any that are distressed, and in fact that looks like it's been changed. It's probably been totally recapped, I don't know. Anyway, it's that would normally be fatter than that, and so I think it's been changed. Oh look, I found a crocodile clip lead. Oh, Mr. Chippy will be on the warpath. Right, we'll go back to there, and we will locate resistor 4. There we go, and we'll put it on the right channel. Right, channel 40. and we're looking for 4 volts. So we're in receive 4.76. Just need to pop that down a fraction. So it's the coil just there, VCO coil. It's only a tiny bit. There we go. And now we need to set it into transmit. So we also get 4 volts. So going into transmit, 2.3. So we'll pop that up with the red trimmer. That's actually quite a way out. So back to receive, because they are interactive. So we've got 4.08 on receive, going to transmit, 3.89, 3.9, that'll do. Go to channel 1, staying in transmit. It's, I'll just turn over the page. It's about 1.8 to 2.5, and I saw that then. So 1.8 to 2.5 is where it needs to be. Not sure we can see the meter. Do that again. So we're in transmit. It's 2.24 on this. It's fine. And in receive, it needs to be between 1.9 to 2.5, which it is. So that's reset the VCO. And that's ever so important, and in days gone by that was skipped by so many people. Went straight for the see if they could tweak it up wrongly, but not whether the VCO was going to lock. And if you're in different weather conditions and it's in a car, you'll end up losing channels if you don't do that. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm going to put the bottom on because of the capacitive effect. It may be prudent to put one screw in so it doesn't short out the printed circuit board if it moved out of position. So transmit. So I'm going to go up. It's going to transmit. So it's been transmitting for a bit, so it's dropped to 3 watts, which is normal enough. So we need to go up the transmit line, so it's here. So far, that's all spot on. Now it's the one where we need the trimming tools, which is just so. So everything for maximum. If these haven't been broken, I can't move the first one. Second one. Third one has brought us to about 4.2 watts, but we have to be able to shift the first one. Done it. So I'll just check again. So we're now at 4.6 watts. Just make sure these are all peaked. They are. Now then, this important bit, L4 clockwise for 4.4 watts. So we need to reduce it from 4.6 to 4.4, which is there. And then the green one, which is L9, if I remember rightly, yeah, we need to turn it anti-clockwise. Now, so the service manual says to 3.8 watts, but we're not doing that. We're not having to get this through a shipment to the UK and get through customs. So it's going to be the full 4 watts that the customer's entitled to. Don't be tempted to leave it high. You won't get any better range, but you'll hammer the set and it will not do the same it will not do the same power on channel 1 to what it does on channel 40, which is what we're going to check now, because that balances it. So right, so on channel 20, and as you know we've set that to 4 watts, so now we'll just turn that to channel 1, and it's doing 3.8 watts. Channel 40 is doing 3.8 watts. So what I'm going to do, we'll put it back to channel 20, and we'll just up it slightly by backing off clockwise L9. We'll do that so that it's just a little bit more. So it's now 4.05, so it's under 4.1 on channel 20. Not that anybody's going to go to prison for that. And then we'll just check channel 1. It's now 4. Channel 40 is now 4. So it's balanced it. So it'll be 1.9 for a slightly overpower copy. Come on. Now I can hear this meter banging across when I key it up. Boing, 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 boing. So we'll adjust that. I'm not sure why I can't adjust that, but I can't adjust it. I think he mentioned in his letter about, I'll just put it back to channel 20. I'll just put this to low power. What we're doing, we're doing silly power on low power. Is that the low power preset I've been fiddling by? Surely not. Yes it is. That has been replaced. We'll just give it a spray as a precaution. So we're on low power and we're supposed to be doing 400 milliwatts, which it now is. So hopefully the meter's not banging across. No. Power meter's there on these sets, isn't it? Go back to full power. See if I read the manual instead of trying to remember. Banging across. We want that to read 4. And then on low power, what does the meter read? Less than 1. Deviation. Oh dear. So first of all I need to set the way this is. I should turn that off. I can't actually. And deviation, deviation control's there. Let's see if we can alter this one. So that needs to be really in that central type of position, and then we'll do the deviation. See where that is. Wallow, 1, 2, wallow. Actually, I've overshot it. It's a little bit too quiet. Let's try it there. Wallow. That's it. So it's 2.2 average 2.5, absolute maximum. So we've done that. So we've got the power at 4 watts. We've got deviation at 2.2 to 2.5 kilohertz. And while we're at it, we'll do the frequency and then I'll go for lunch. Frequency, let's have a look at the frequency counter. So hopefully it'll come up. If it doesn't matter, it's still within spec. So we'll leave it just slightly high, 27,79128, because they drop with age. So, you know, this is precautionary and means that the set doesn't have to come in that regularly. When I was at Nottingham Radio and doing Pi Philips stuff at that point, I'll just take picture in picture. They got light bulbs in the dial light for the radio, not LEDs. And these radios by this time were 1990s. And I said to the rep, why are we still got light bulbs? Oh well, it generates service work. I don't like that. Is that an accountant's way of thinking? But it's back to, if you get 25 years life out of the radio system, then they're going to be really pleased and they'll have another one from you. And if you only get 8 years life out of your radio system, they'll have another radio system, but it won't be from you. You know, it's not now custom, it's tomorrow custom. Unless you're about six months away from retirement, in which case they probably don't care two hoots. So anyway, we'll come back after lunch and we'll do the receiver. Right, so we're back on this and we'll start with the detector. So we'll put 100 microvolts. The signal generator onto radio, turn the volume up to a sensible level. Turn that off. I'm not sure why there isn't a right trimming tool on here. This is the right trimming tool. Well, that was about there. It wasn't only a little micro adjustment there. So now we'll go to the SINAD meter and see whether we can get a bit more out of the radio. So we'll drop the signal to about 4 dBs so we're not saturating the radio. Miles out. Drop the attenuator. I think we can go to a different scale. We can. Wow. We'll go for a bigger signal now. Back to a smaller signal. Massive difference. Let's look at the SINAD reading now. That's about 12. It's now 0.48 microvolts. So that's become 0.48. So let's see whether it will do 20 any better. I mean, that's not important, but I mean, that's bang on the 20 there. 1.25. Yeah, there we are. Massive improvement. So I'll need to do the squelch next. So I'll turn the squelch to full. And once again put a 100 microvolt signal on, which is when I want the squelch to open. Put the camera on the attenuator. I've just not had the picture-in-picture back on. What a wally. I will show you the SINAD again. Just do this. So 3 microvolts, 10 microvolts, 30 microvolts. Hopefully it comes in as 100. It doesn't. So we need to adjust that. Right, let's try it again. 10, 30, 100. That's it. Spot on. It was a bit too coarse as it was. So we'll now drop the signal generator down to 0.3 of a microvolt. I'm going to park it there and put it to standby. Now I'll turn the squelch down, set threshold, and see when the signal generator comes back in. So it's coming in at 0.46 microvolts. It's going out about 0.42. Now they're not the best squelch in the world. They're competent, but they're not the best in the world. And I'd like more hysteresis, but that's how they are. And bear in mind, my Harrier base station is the same innards. So that's the squelch done. Now we do the S meter. So once again, we'll put an S9 signal on the radio, and we want it to read S9. It bangs across. So that must read 9. Just like that. Just checking this RF gain is still at 4. That delta tune isn't on. Good. So that's that. So the two things to do. Oh, I'll just show you this. I'll go back to the SINAD meter so that you actually can see what we've got. So at the moment, of course, it's greater than 20, but we'll just set this back up for 12. So there's your 12. Can we do it on the other scale? No, I've got to do it on that one. That's about spot on the 12. Then we'll go to the attenuator so you can see that. And it's 0.54, something like that. It's never going to be the same reading twice. So there you go. Actually, if I had the volume up a bit, we'd get a lower. Yeah, it was 0.48 again at that volume level. Right, so I'll need to do that. Get rid of that LED, put a bulb in, and try and clean that volume control. Another thing I'm going to do as a courtesy, the front, the bezel, the escutcheon, the glue's failed on it. So we'll just put a dab of Bostik number 2 adhesive. Do they still call it number 2? They probably don't. I'll put it exactly the same place as it was before. Right, that's the lid's back on it. And now we've got the correct dim glow from the transmit light, which goes out from the receive light when it goes out when I press transmit. Just as it should do. I think that's the wrong knob, you know. I know it's the wrong knob. The channel knob is the wrong knob. One niner Roger. $19.90 Roger. As soon as I stop recording, it'll start chuntering. Okay, so that's done, and nice to be able to get the power up to full 4 watts. Nice to get the deviation down so people can actually hear the person speaking, and it's also nice to be able to get the receive better. So that can go back to the customer. We'll do a on the air test later on. I think that was box 21. We're somewhere up there anyway. Thanks for watching the Harrier CBX using the Cybernet 134 chassis from 1981.